Hello, welcome back to vlog a day in July. Now, I haven't been saying what day it is in each video because, you know, you think about it and you go, I'll do this day, that day, and then things change and you don't get, it just doesn't work out. So I don't know what day this will show up, but I'm working on something out of this book, and I have done a couple. I did a sweater, I'm working on a dress, I did one of the rompers, and now I'm doing another one of the rompers. It is the same pattern. So the first romper out of this book was this one, and this one was done in a Lion brand fad type yarn. It was cotton, and it came in some hanks, and I can even show you one that is very similar colorway. This was called Hand Dyed Heaven, and this colorway was a different one. Of course, I don't have I have just a little bit left of it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I don't have the wrapper. So this was the colorway, but this one is pink. And it is how it came in the hanks. So this one is called Showstopper Vedette. So that's the pink speckle. And it's 100% nylon, and it says a 3 light. So I went ahead and tried doing one of these rompers in this, and that was done in June. And what my opinion is on this is that it is nylon, but it is very dense when you work up in crochet. And so what it's created is a material that's quite absorbent, and it will turn quite heavy. It's already heavy, but it's durable. So that's a good thing, I guess. But your gauge will end up being much bigger than you're anticipated. So when you're working with this, be mindful that do a gauge swatch. So that's my opinion on the Hand Dyed Heaven, and I've used it a couple times, and I feel that way. You're not going to mix this with a lot of 3 light. It says 3 light. You're not going to mix it with a lot of them because it is much heavier gauge than your normal 3 light. Okay, so that was that one. So we're working on, I'm going to finish up a set with you. This is Creating with Christy again, basically. So in this project bag, I have my orange yarn that I purchased from Hirschner. So again, this is not a 3. I am anticipating to be a little bit lighter of a yarn than the hand-dyed heaven. So taking that into account, this is going to be a smaller gauge because it's a 2. And this is acrylic and cotton 50-50. They come in 180 yard donuts. And this color is clementine. So 2 fine, 2 lightweight. I'm not sure how you want to say that. But what I've done is I have taken out my donut. And when I do that, you see what it does? It falls. You take the wrapper off and it falls on itself. So a good way to keep that from unraveling is to keep it in a bag and place one of these little clips from the Dollar Tree on your outside of your skein to try to keep that from happening very much. I do suggest you pull from the center, and then maybe you won't have as much of a problem. Again, it does fall back on itself just a little bit, so that but I haven't had any trouble of any knotting or anything. No problem with that. So that was a little hint there, a little tip. Now, what I've done is I am someone who collects, hoards buttons. And so when I see a project and it needs some embellishment, I tend to go through my buttons and make myself try every button out under the sun until I find something that I think is appropriate. So this project, and everything is squared right up. It is. This project was calling for these daisy buttons, and I had just enough left to finish this project. So, let's see if I have everything in. Yeah. So what I've done is I have left the last strap to finish off with everyone. And to get these centered up, it tells you to count in 5 and then go in the 6th one. And you have to make sure that 1, 2, 3 is on the right hand side of your, because it says 10 from this side here, and then 3, and then make sure you're on the center, and then start 3. So that will center it better if you're having trouble with that. And the other thing I wanted to say about these straps is these straps are so nice compared to some of the straps that we have been told to do in some projects. Why I like these so much, the way she did this, is that instead of just double crochet, and then it gets real stretched out, especially after washing, you are doing front post, back post, which is overlapping your rows and tightening up your stitches, but yet it's still got some stretch to it. So that's a really nice idea on these, so I'm happy with that. When you get to the last row, and I put a stitch marker in here, I used a smaller hook on this one than I did the other one, and this is going to come out to be a newborn set, which is fine. I used a 3.75 F hook on this. Originally it says an E, it is a 2, so I went up a hook. Okay, so the last row on these is your buttonhole row, and that's where I am. So what it tells you to do is chain 1, turn your work, and do your buttonhole row. Do it exactly the way that they tell you to in the pattern, and then test it out. So we were told to do one half double, and then, whoops, now see, this does split. It will split, but it's because I'm not sitting down. I am standing up. So it tells you to do that. Skip 3, chain 1 and skip 3. Well, I'm not going to do it this time, because what happened is I did it exactly the way that they told me to do it, which would have left a chain 1 and 3 stitches skipped. And when I got all done, I didn't cut my yarn. I completely sewed on the buttons, and then I tried my buttonhole. Well, it was way too big and it wasn't going to stay on. So typically with something like this, you put it on the baby and the buttons don't work. Keeps falling off. So what do we do to make sure we change our buttonhole to suit us? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the no, I didn't make a chain 1. I went ahead and did the 3rd stitch like normal. Then I did my chain 1. Then I skipped over that center stitch, which was the back post, and then I did another front post. That left my hole only 1 wide. Go ahead and finish off your row like normal, which is the back post. And then the last one. And I've been doing these on the side with the single crochet, the chain 1 instead of. And if you have this pattern, then you will know that that was a half double in the half double, but I did it in the chain 1. Then I turn, chain 1 and turn, and then what I did, instead of doing what they said, I rounded the edges. So I went ahead and I single crocheted the first 2 together, which rounds that edge. Then I single crocheted in the next, single crocheted in the chain 1, single crocheted in the next, and then single crocheted the last 2 together. Now you have a much smaller hole. And when you cut your yarn, leave a little extension. And what we'll do is we'll thread that. And we're going to go back to we're going on the back side of our work now. Go back through I'm going to make it there. We'll go back to it, and we're going to go around a couple of times around our buttonhole and reinforce that buttonhole just a little bit. Just go back through some of the stitches and just tighten it up just a little bit. Now why I'm doing this is because people are going to be putting their fingers in and out of these holes and pushing and pulling on it, and the baby's going to be bouncing all around, and everybody is going to start wearing the heck out of that hole to the point of pulling it this way, pulling it that way. Now it's got some strength, and you still need to make sure you pull it and make it open enough for your button. But I went ahead and then went all the way around, and then I worked my regular tail back through a couple rows back. and then I cut it. Okay, so now when you turn around, you can pull on it a lot more because there's more strength to it. And then go ahead and force your button through. And then just keep doing that. Go back and forth a couple times and see how the hole will get bigger. Instead of making it too big, make it a hair smaller and then work it a few times. So that is the end of that romper, and I gotta tell you, to make it your own, take a couple of different patterns and put them together and make a set. So I took a 7 hook and I put it with the cloche hat that is from Vlogaday. I will link this below. This hat is my go-to hat for the summer sun hat. I've made it a million times and put it with these kind of sets. And I keep doing it because it works out. So you take and you make the exact pattern with a smaller hook. This is a 7, and I use the 7 because this is a 2 light 2. And this is what size it came out, newborn. Now, that's my last daisy, so I'm gonna have to buy more if I want to use that button again. But anyway, if oh, and by the way, if you are at people's flea markets or their garage sales, look through real close for buttons like these kind of buttons, because people hoard things and put them in a jar, and then their kids sell them for 50 cents and things like that, and you could get a whole bunch of buttons at yard sales. So there's another little tidbit. Anyway, so I made this with the cloche hat pattern, and it's so nice because the 2 is going to make it smaller. It comes out looking totally like a sun hat. So there is the pattern for that. Then I also love the Parker booty. The Parker booty can be adapted so many ways by using the base of the Parker booty and working your way up the booty, getting to a certain point, which is row 8. 8 is the row that I do 9. I do the 9 rows, and then on row 10 I start across and do this, and this is how I end up with a Mary Jane. So this is how this set ended up. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for Vlogaday in July. I hope you enjoy my videos. Take a moment out of each day, be creative, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.